Ready?
Hello and welcome to the Bronco Exchange. I'm your host, Dr. Shanessa Fenner, and today I have two prominent individuals on my show, and they're absolutely wonderful. I have first and foremost County Commissioner Charles Evans and District Attorney Billy West. Welcome, fellas. How are you all doing today?
Doing great. It's an honor to be here.
Wonderful. Billy, I would like for you to first tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm the district attorney here in Cumberland County. Been in that position for almost 10 years now. I was an assistant district attorney for Ed Grannis, who was our longtime district attorney before that. But I'm a Fayetteville native. Graduated from high school here. Went to North Carolina State. Played on a golf scholarship at North Carolina State. Then I went on to Campbell Law School, where I got my law degree. And then in 2000, I graduated from law school and came back and began prosecuting. So I've been in the district attorney's office the better part of 20 years, roughly 10 as an assistant, and now almost 10 as the elected district attorney. So it's been a challenging but great career so far.
Great. And Charles, of course, good friend of mine. Tell me about yourself.
Well, Fayetteville is my home, and I attended school here as well. And I was stationed in the military here at Fort Bragg, and became interested in politics, served on the Fayetteville City Council for 2 terms, and on my 3rd term for the Board of Commissioners.
Okay. You. Now, Billy, first tell us a little bit about the role of a district attorney. What's your role?
My role is, in North Carolina, our law enforcement investigates all our crime, and they also charge all our crimes that occur in my jurisdiction, which is Cumberland County. So our Fayetteville Police Department, our Sheriff's Office, Police Department at Fayetteville State, all our law enforcement agencies, they bring forth charges, and then it's the job of the prosecutor to see those charges through, to prove them to a judge in district court, to a jury in superior court, to dismiss the charge, to reduce the charge, whatever we think the appropriate thing to do is with whatever law enforcement is charged. So we have about 100,000 cases annually. That number usually surprises people. That's everything from the seatbelt ticket all the way up to the murder that you hear about on TV. I have 25 assistant district attorneys and about 25 or 30 legal assistants and investigators, paralegals, and so it's a large office to work through those 100,000 cases, and we're the 4th largest office in North Carolina. So it's a big operation, and we stay busy.
Okay. Now, Billy, I want to talk a little bit about a case that has touched the hearts of many, the Shanaya Davis case. I know we can have a little discussion about that as well. Yeah,
the Shanaya, everybody I think has that one case that they think of. And in my career, it's been the Shanaya Davis case. I've done many others that have been in the news and that sort of thing. But to have a 5-year-old little girl, beautiful little girl, kidnapped from her home, unfortunately sexually abused and then killed. It was one of the first cases of human trafficking, a term that we hear now a lot, but that's what it was. Her mother had owed the defendant money and made the exchange for sexual services, and then she ends up killed. It's just a terrible and tragic story. It certainly gripped our community as well as the state and the nation, and fortunately we were able to get justice for Shanaya. That trial was just something that I will never forget from beginning to end and everything that went with it.
Now, Billy, of course you are human and you are emotional. How do you stay, how do you keep your emotions and your personal thoughts and feelings out of situations like that?
It is difficult. Many times we have to look at a case factually, what can we prove to a jury beyond a reasonable doubt, and who do we need? Do we need to call the law enforcement officer, the medical examiner, the fingerprint expert? So you're putting a case together, and during putting that case together, you don't think as much about the emotional side. But there is that, because what happens is you get to know not only the person that lost their life, but their family members and their friends that are supporting you and your team, and they're coming to court every day. And I can remember in the Shanaya Davis case watching some of the news coverage, and in the closing argument you can hear my voice break a couple of times when I'm talking about her, and it was really at that point when I'm talking about her and what happened to her that you do feel the emotion of what happened. But we do have to stay focused on what we have to prove. But there is that emotional element, the very human element, that this really happened, this tragic thing really happened to a precious little girl.
Okay. Of course, that leads us into human trafficking. Let's talk a little bit about that, human trafficking here in our area.
Yeah, human trafficking, unfortunately, is an issue here in Cumberland County. We actually have more human trafficking charges than anywhere in the state, which that may sound like a bad statistic, but one of the reasons is we have a human trafficking task force, which involves our office, the sheriff's office, the police department. We have people that are dedicated to solving and prosecuting that type of crime, and also to assisting victims of crime. We have an agency, Five Sparrows, here in Cumberland County, which supports victims of human trafficking, individuals that have become involved in that lifestyle. In many cases, have a drug problem, have nowhere to go, and this is the only life that they know. And so we're focusing on that area. We've had some real successes with prosecutions, and but it is a big problem here in Cumberland County.
Now, Billy, would you say that females especially need to be very careful when they're at the mall, they're getting in their car, they're at the quick stop? Kind of talk with me a little bit about that. Are they just grabbing women and throwing them in vans? Kind of talk with me about that a little bit.
You do need to have situational awareness like that, but I think in many times the way that someone becomes involved in that lifestyle, and in many cases it is a female, is a male brings them in with the lure of, you know, we're going to take care of you. A lot of times they'll have a substance abuse problem. You stay and live with us and we'll provide, you know, whatever drug you're addicted to, and then they get drawn into the lifestyle that way. Because initially they're not told, you know, you're going to come with our group and be, you're going to be trafficked and we're going to make money off you. That's not what they say. They bring them in with, you know, here's roof over your head, you've got a drug addiction, we'll provide that drug for you, and then before they know it, they're performing sexual services for that person or that organization.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about the expungement program. I know Charles and I, we had a conversation about that as well. Kind of tell us a little bit about that, and of course, Charles, feel free to chime in as well.
Well, I'm gonna have to give Charles credit here. The impetus behind the expungement program, just the heart and soul of it, is Charles and his desire to help people. And he came to me with this idea of the expungement clinic. What it does is individuals are legally entitled to this relief, but many of them do not have the financial means to take advantage of that. So we wanted to remove that financial obstacle through the help of legal aid, our private attorney, our clerk Lisa Scales, Judge Robert Steele, Judge Claire Hill, and others were able to work together with the system, with these individuals, and if they are eligible, they can go through the process, get an expungement at no cost to them, because they qualify financially for court-appointed assistance, and they could not do this but for the program. And Charles, it was a passion of his, and he came to me with the idea, and we worked together on it. So, Charles, if you will, tell us about it a little bit.
Tell me where that passion came from, first and foremost, Charles.
Well, having lived a life that involved items that expungement clinic take care of, I heard of it happening in another area, and presented it to our district attorney, Billy West, which I must tell you, when presenting it to him about possibly doing it here in Cumberland County, he opened arms. He was really ready to do this. And that's the one thing that I admire, respect about this young man. His concerns are far beyond what anyone could imagine of a district attorney. He's very caring, very compassionate, and also want to do what is right for everybody involved in this county. So we're very fortunate to have Billy West as our district attorney, and I'm sure he'll be around for a while, and at least we hope so, because it takes someone of understanding, someone of compassion, someone of caring to deal with the citizens that he has to deal with from day to day. But this expungement clinic is for individuals that have made some missteps in life and trying to get their life back on track, because with certain felonies and misdemeanors, there are things that will prohibit you from getting jobs and housing and employment, going to school and things of that nature. So with the district attorney and his staff, they're making that very possible for this to happen to some individuals if they qualify for it.
Okay, good, wonderful. So how does it work, Billy? Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah,
For someone who's watching and would
yeah,
like to know, would like to have something
the
explained.
process, and I, Charles, he came to us with the idea, and I think we've put together a good team.
Yes.
and a good system, and it's being replicated across the state. I bet you I get a call once a week, somebody wanting to know about our expungement clinic and wanting to do it in their county. But how it basically works is we start out with what we call information sessions. We try to have them in large venues, typically churches and in different areas of the county. We usually have them on a Saturday late morning, and people come to those information sessions and learn what type of offenses are eligible for expungement. If after listening to that presentation they think they can take advantage of the program and that they would financially qualify for the program, they submit an application. Our office then uses that application to run their criminal record, pull their old case file, and see if they are in fact eligible. If they are in fact eligible, we set them up for the actual clinic, which is a couple of weeks later, where we have my staff, the judges, the clerks, our attorneys, our public defenders there, free of charge to help them go through the paperwork, etc., with getting an expungement, which can be kind of complicated. And where Charles, his nonprofit, Project Fresh Start, is so critical is that some people don't qualify. And for those people, we don't want them to leave empty-handed. And his Project Fresh Start, people that have had a misstep in life, it provides them with educational opportunities, job skills, helps them get housing and that sort of thing. So if we can't help the person in the clinic, we send them to Charles's group. And then some people, there's waiting periods for certain expungements. It has to be 5 years since your conviction or 10 years. So some people can take advantage of Project Fresh Start, and then a year or two they're ready to go through the clinic. So it's just been a great partnership.
Okay, great. Billy, when did you first realize you wanted to become a district attorney?
It's been a while. Coming along, I'll have to be honest, I enjoyed the television shows, Law and Order and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I knew Mr. Grannis, the longtime elected district attorney. He was DA for 35 years, which is hard to believe. And, I just really was interested in public service and really interested in helping people. And people are kind of think that's an unusual thing for a district attorney to say, but that can mean helping a victim of crime that was robbed or sexually assaulted. There's a lot of gratification in that, but it also can mean somebody who's made a misstep in life or somebody who's got a drug addiction, helping that person get back on their feet, treating them fairly, and perhaps not saddling them with a felony conviction that 10 or 15 years down the road is going to cause a lot of problem in their life. So being able to be involved in that process and try to do the fair thing in each case is really kind of what drew me to the profession.
Mm-hmm. Okay, wonderful. Okay. Charles, I'll talk with you a little bit. As far as county commissioner is concerned, what is your one thing right now that you're working on that you really want to help and make a better Fayetteville with right now?
I would like to see us work a little harder on homelessness around here.
Wonderful.
That's the issue that's been near and dear to me for a long time. We're putting things in place to deal with eradication of it, but it's not moving fast enough. Mm-hmm. And
got it right.
and I understand that we think that the wheels of government is slow, but and sometimes it appears that way, and it is. But I'm hoping that through funding from the state and local funding that we could have a one-stop center for individuals to go to and find out what other opportunities there is for individuals that's homeless from that particular location. Also to use computers to help those persons find employment, and just a variety of services offered at that one particular location, so they won't have to go from place to place and ask this location, where do I need to go for this or where do I need to go for that? It all will be housed in one particular place.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, I thank you so much for your time, and thank you, viewing audience, for tuning in to the Bronco Exchange. I'm your host, Dr. Shanessa Fenner. Have a good one.
Hypnotized, familiar stranger,